So, it's Saturday morning. It's the Saturday after, it's a couple days after posting that video. Okay, so what is it then? It's like the 8th or 9th? It's the 9th. So, there's, of course, a backlash once you post a video about wanting to kill yourself. And what that looks like. So I have been kind of freaked out by my own boldness in sharing that, and as a result I've been kind of like pulling back a little bit from anybody who's been trying to reach out to me, because I think I'm embarrassed and I don't know, all kinds of things. But so I wanted to say that I really feel like, a few things. Like I was talking about how Sarah understanding almost felt like a green light the other day, that my daughter understanding about wanting to die, that she would finally, be okay if I did. And I just talked to my best friend today, Chrissy, and said all of this to her, and she was like, don't be mistaken. She's like, I know you inside and out, and I love you, and I understand you completely, and I know everything. And she's like, I love you with all my heart, but I will never forgive you if you do this. I will be mad at you for the rest of my life. It will fuck me up. She's like, don't be mistaken. It'll fuck your kids up. It'll fuck Haley up. She's like, I know that you, she's like, I believe it's real. I know that you really go through this, but she's like, I think that you also hang in there because you know that you are loved. And I am loved. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about. I am loved, and I am a good person, and I wish I had my other phone with me, because I have these beautiful texts from Caleb that are so wonderful, talking about, that I'm the person that taught him how to be happy, and I'm the person who taught him how to express his emotions and how to be a loving man. And that is one of my most proud moments as a mother, is to have my son tell me that. So I'm so proud of my kids, and that's been part of this too, is that I'm so proud of them and what amazing good people they've turned out to be, that it almost feels like, okay, good job, Sherry, job well done. Now you're good. You did it. Part of me wants to believe that, but that's just a song in my head that's not true. And it's one that it's like when I get in that spot where I was the other day, that I was so upset that if I had had the right tools, if I had the right circumstances, I could have made that decision. And the thing is that the older I'm getting, and the more times I face this to die or not to die question over and over and over and over, and always, and so familiar. I mean, those are like neural pathways that are reinforced every time I go through that. This has become, it's been 30 years of this. This is now a well-formed neurological pathway in my brain. So, not to mention DNA. I mean, clearly mental illness and depression and anxiety and all of these things absolutely run in my family and are an issue for all of us. Or for a lot of us. So it gets very confusing, like trying to figure out what's me, what is society, what is my, what am I responsible for directly and what am I not. Like, I feel very guilty that I'm such a mess and that I can't seem to just keep it together like everybody else does. I want to talk a lot. I mean, there's so much to say. There's so many good reasons why I am the way that I am, and I have so many things to say and so many stories to tell, and part of it is that I feel like I'm not ready to leave this earth until I get that done. And every time I go to this place where I'm like, I'm done, I'm going to kill myself, it's harder each time to come back from it, because each time I come back from it, then I feel like an asshole that I didn't, that I caused a hullabaloo for nothing. It doesn't feel like I survived. It feels like I was a drama queen. That's what it feels like. Like people are going to accuse me of being a drama queen, or that my family feels like I'm a drama queen, and I'm ashamed of it, and I'm learning as I'm getting older to try and keep it more to myself. And that's part of why I've been isolating so much and keeping things to myself. But a quick overview. I wanted to focus on being loved, but I also want to explain how I got to where I am right this second. And so I'm going to explain really quickly just like the last year and what's gone on. I was living with my mom and my daughter and my granddaughter in my mom's house after I separated from my ex-husband Adam. And my mom and I together, we have some incredibly difficult history to try and overcome. There's a lot of fucked up feelings there, a lot of past trauma that has not been like professionally resolved. We've been trying for years to do it ourselves. I don't know that, we've come to a more peaceful place, so I guess we've made progress. But anyway, we tried to live together without a plan, without having dealt with all that unhealed hurt first, which was a big mistake. So, anyway, it was a recipe for disaster. And you guys saw last year what happened when I carved the vine in my arm and my mom called ECMC on me, or, crisis services, who came. And they took me to ECMC in an ambulance, and I sat in the CPAP or whatever the fuck it's called ward for 24 hours before anyone even addressed me directly about why I was there, what was going on. I got my blood pressure checked every few hours or whatever, but you're in a fucking crazy dorm-like setting, co-ed, by the way, with legit straight up fucking crazy people, crazy violent people too. It was scary, and it was not helpful in any way. I suppose it kept me safe or whatever, but I feel like, I don't know, there's got to be a better way. And I guess there is a better way, and I mentioned that in the other video about how ECMC, when Sarah took me the other day, they have a new program where you go in, you can just walk in. Anyway, I'll get to that later. I wanted to tell what happened last year. So I was living with all them, and my mom and I were fighting all the time. In my defense, I really feel like she and I were codependent on one another, and what that looked like is that she wanted me to make the decisions and be the one responsible for taking care of things, simple things, even ordering a pizza. It was my job to make the phone call, and that simple things like that just irritated me. And me always being the person who had to decide ultimately what was on, it was always up to me, and that was just, it didn't feel appropriate. I didn't want it to always be up to me. So we battled a lot about ownership of our shit, but anyway, so it didn't go well, and we fought like crazy, and I drove my friends insane that I had at the time. My good friend Maddie and James and some other people that were there for me at the time that I don't really talk to anymore, because I feel like I'm too much. Again, I'm just too much. But anyway, so my mom and I got in a big fight. Or had been fighting a lot, and then I was going through what I was going through with the cutting my arm, and she called anyway, wound up in the hospital, and then it was horrible, 24 hours of not knowing what was going on, and then just being released, and finding myself all of a sudden in a Medicaid cab with no real plan, going back to my mom's, and